Hello and welcome to the United Stand. How are you all doing? It is February the 6th. There is really not a lot more I can say about that. I could speak forever, I can speak for a few seconds. Suffice to say, this is what Manchester United is. February the 6th, 1958, we were stolen of the Busby Babes, and the way that the club and everybody has reacted to it today has been nothing short of memorable. I would not use the word fantastic because we don't want to be in this situation, but football came together and we remembered them, and we will always remember them. And Duncan Edwards will always be a part of the United Stand because he's the reason I support Manchester United, because that's the reason my granddad supports Manchester United, and that is what Manchester United is. And it's not really about what I'm about to say. As I was saying before, we'll probably get 30,000 views on this video. We got 10,000 on the Munich one. It's disproportionate. It's not right, and I'm not criticising people about that. But as a community, United Stand, we need to, over these years to come, because Sir Bobby's not going to be with us forever. Over the years to come and over the months and days to come, we need to get more people watching those videos and understanding what our great club is. Because, you know, in the modern day, oh, Arsenal, I'll pick Chelsea, I'll pick Man City. Well, you might want to pick them because they're doing well or they're spending money, but Manchester United actually means something. The club actually means something. It's the greatest story ever told. And if you turn your back on that story, and if we've only got 10,000 people watching a video on Munich, but, you know, 40, 50,000 watching a link to Ozil, then 40,000 fans are not really getting to understand what Manchester United's all about, and that's a shame. So keep spreading the word, keep building that community, because it lies on our shoulders, the Busby Babes, on years to come, and our kids and our friends and our family and our future United fans. We need to spread the message. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, it goes on. That's the whole point. Manchester United goes on, and Manchester United and Jose Mourinho, what a difference a day makes. Yesterday we were talking about how Mourinho's not going to sign an attacker, and today there is a report from Germany, not from England, from Germany, which is where Pulisic plays for Borussia Dortmund, and they are saying that Manchester United want to hijack Pulisic to Liverpool with a £40 million bid. Now, this is going to happen. I said this yesterday. Whether Mourinho will sign an attacker or not, whether he was right what he said yesterday, or whether he's going to change his mind, or he was always keeping it back anyway, that we will be linked to forwards between now and the summer. And Pulisic is a player that I'm a big fan of. He's 19 years of age now. He's played in the Champions League. He's an international for America. He's a Manchester United fan, but John Terry was a Manchester United fan. It doesn't mean he ended up playing for us, did he? He won countless Premier League titles for Chelsea. So the Manchester United fan thing doesn't mean he won't sign for Liverpool. Klopp has got that connection. Klopp does like quick attacking players, and Pulisic is one of those. And Pulisic would probably be a very good signing for Liverpool. It'd be a very good signing for Manchester United because he can play on the left-hand side. But I don't think it's going to happen for Pulisic. And I really like Pulisic. I've been on about him on here for a good 2 or 3 years now. And I really do like him. And I think it ticks lots of boxes. Cynically, it ticks the American market. We know we've got a lot of Manchester United fans who are American, and Pulisic is going to be their best player if he's not already at Manchester United. Is a brilliant marketing toy, and you know, that's the modern game, unfortunately. But from a footballing point of view, I'd like to see him on that left-hand side because he can put a cross in. However, we've signed Sanchez, we've got Martial, we've got Rashford, we've got Lingard, we've got Mata, we've got who else have we got? We've got Lukaku. We've got a lot of options, and also Tahith Chong turned 18 in December. He's only a year younger than Pulisic, and he's already at the club. So there are options there, and we're also also linked to Justin Kluivert, who we spoke about the other night at Hijack, who again I think is 18 years of age. So look, I'm excited when Manchester United get linked to young players. Of course I am, and I really do like Pulisic, and I think he would improve us. And £40 million for a player who's probably going to be worth about £100 million in 2 years' time is good value for money. And I certainly think if Liverpool are in for him, then we should go for him as well. Louise is right. Pulisic can play on the right. He can play number 10 as well. So we've got that fluidity. Sanchez can do that, as we know. Mourinho said that, and we know that. And Martial can do it. And so could, you know, Lingard can play right and centrally, can't he? Mata can play right and centrally. So we've got lots and lots of options at Manchester United. We've got Pereira probably going to come back as well. We've got Gomez, and we've got Chong, who can play those positions, although they're probably not ready yet. But will Manchester United go and spend £40 million on Pulisic? I don't know. Would I like us to? Yes, because it's another attacking player, another young attacking player. But it is interesting that we are linked to him. One player that sort of fits in very, very well with today being February the 6th and the Busby Babes and what they mean to the club and this this emphasis on youth. And I think, you know, I remember this conversation last summer, and I remember a few people in the live comments, and some of you may remember as well, that Jason McDermott's telling me off for not saying Kluivert. I say Kluivert. I say what I like. Royce. Robban. I'll do more if you like. But some of you may remember this in the summer. We were talking about youth, and it was a good debate. I like a good debate, and there was a lot of people saying that you need to forget about youth. It's not the modern way. All this United way is nonsense. You know, I'd rather we just went and sign players than bring through youth. And I was basically accused of being a bit old school, going on about the United way and bringing through youth. But on how would anybody dare say that today? Would anybody dare get in the live comments and say, forget the youth, if we need to buy people to bring in success, then that's what we need to do? I've always said that at the moment we do need to buy players. Alexis Sanchez needed to be bought, and I think we need to buy 2 or 3 more. But the balance has to be there. You know, your Rashfords, your Fosu Mensahs, your Twansibis, your Chongs, your Gomez, they've got to be part of the plan, because that's the United way and that is the United youth. I would never ever want to see what's happened at Manchester City, what happens at Chelsea, where their whole team is and their bench is full of bought players, and they've got a spare subs bench place and they won't even give it to a youth player. I never want United to be that. And people can say, oh, you're living in the past or anything like that. I will fight to my dying breath as a Manchester United fan and be passionate about it against all odds, that there should always be youth coming through from Manchester United. Because the day we stop doing that, you can say it's archaic or anything like that, but the day we stop doing that is the day we turn our backs on what happened in 1958 on February the 6th. We must always do it. It's not something to be given lip service to. It's not something that we just have to keep doing because we've broken a record since the late 1930s of having a youth player on our bench. It's something we are passionate about. It's something many Manchester United fans are passionate about. We must always promote youth and make the youth part of our team. Because if we don't, the flame goes out. The Busby Babes flame goes out. What Matt Busby set up at this club goes out. We must always do it. Not exclusively. If we did that at the moment, we couldn't win anything. And it has to be balanced. And Sir Alex Ferguson got that perfect balance, because he operated in a time where lots of clubs are buying players, and we must buy players. You know, we've bought badly. We do need to buy some players in, but the balance is there and the talent's coming through, and we must always promote and nurture that talent. Which brings me on to Marcus Rashford, because I don't know what a lot of you think, I'm quite disappointed by some of the things I'm reading about Rashford. There was a call on TalkSport last night. Don't shoot the messenger. I read it. I was on the way home. And it was basically a call saying that Marcus Rashford should not go to the World Cup with England. Now, I couldn't give 2 hoots about England. I'll watch the World Cup. Of course I will. It's a great footballing event. But should Marcus Rashford go to the World Cup for England? Yes. Do I care if he goes? Well, it makes it more interesting for me to have a United player in the England team. But what really annoys me is this talk of Rashford needs to go. Rashford's the new Welbeck. Rashford needs to go on loan. Rashford's going to be sold so he can bring Kluivert in. Absolute nonsense, and I'm dead against it. Marcus Rashford has just turned 20 years of age. He's scored a debut in every tournament, in every game he's played. What's happened with Marcus Rashford pretty much since November is he's going through a bad point. He looks like he's lacking confidence, and there is something wrong. I've heard things like he's going out partying with Lingard too much. I've heard he's just going through a growth spurt. I've heard he's carrying an injury. I've heard all sorts of excuses, none of which I know whether they're true or not, but there is something with Rashford at the moment that he's working through, and it's natural. It happens to everybody. Everybody goes through a bit of form dip, and he may well be. I think the most logical one is that he's probably going through a bit of a growth spurt that's impacting his movements and everything like that, but I may be way off with that. The reality is, when Rashford burst on the scene and was doing well for the last 18 months before November, everything he touched was gold, even for England. And now suddenly he's not a great player anymore. He's not an inspirational, exciting flair player. I think that's nonsense. And Mourinho has played him in every game. He may not have started him, but he's played him in every game. He is what Manchester United are all about. He is what the Busby Babes were all about. And he may never be a Ronaldo. He may never be a Rooney. But he could certainly be an Andy Cole sort of a talent. Not every player has to be world class. And Rashford certainly got the tools to be top class. All he needs to do is sort his final ball out and get his head up on crosses. And he'd be fine. He's got lots and lots of positive attributes. I really am disappointed that there's these rumours that we'd get rid of him. I think the club would be dead against that. And I think Mourinho's dead against it. And I think us as fans need to be dead against it. He is... he appears to be a really nice lad. He is from the youth setup. He's a local boy. He's a real talent, and we need to nurture that talent and be patient with that talent. And I just totally disagree. I don't know what anybody else thinks. I just totally disagree about all this talk about Rashford being kicked out of the club, or not being good enough for the club, or being the next Danny Welbeck. I think it's wrong. I think he's a really good player. Rashford is having a Martial this season, says Louise O'Donoghue. Another good comment from Louise. Damien Hosty, I'll come back to that. So I really want to talk about Chelsea a little bit as well. Brian Price says Rashford has hit the post at least 7 or 8 times in this bad run. If he scores 3 or 4 of those, then everyone is back to licking his butt. Yeah, look, there's always two sides, Brian, isn't there? And I think we as fans just need to stick by him. He got that goal the other week, didn't he, against Yeovil? He's a very important player. I think he's in the right position at the moment, which is the bench, because his form's not great, and you've got Sanchez, you've got Lingard playing well, Mata's consistent, Lukaku up front, but I don't envisage a situation really that far off where Lukaku, if he had a couple of bad games, Rashford could come in up front and do a job for us. And the thing is, I said this, and I'll say it now rather than when... I think if I'd said it 3 months ago, when Lukaku started going through a bad patch in October and Rashford was really good, if I'd said in 3 years' time, Rashford's going to be more important to us than Lukaku, then people might have believed it. If I said it to you now, you're going to go, you're mad. Rashford's never going to be better than Lukaku in 3 years, but I do think he is. He's not fully developed. He's not fully developed. He's a tall, quick, strong lad who's not fully developed, and I think he's certainly got far better technique and build-up play and control than Lukaku, and I think he could be an absolutely sensational number 9. Not necessarily world-class, but top-class will do if you surround him with the right sort of players. So I'm very happy with Rashford. I'm not happy with his current form. I'm sure he's not. I'm sure Mourinho's not. But as a football player for Manchester United, I wouldn't want him anywhere else. I want him here at this club, and you know, we might get frustrated with a bad performance, but that's what fans do. In the long term, I want Rashford at this club. He's very, very important. Talking about players at this club, David De Gea is apparently upped his wage demands due to the signing of Alexis Sanchez. Rumoured to be ready to sign a new contract at £300,000 a week. The introduction of Alexis Sanchez and his £5 million a week contract, well, if we're to believe the media, God knows what he's on, but he apparently wants £350,000 a week, which Manchester United aren't necessarily going to bulk at. Now again, I think a lot of us would look at that and say £350,000 a week, it's immoral, it's ridiculous. How are we doing that? Look, if the club can afford to do it, we are a self-run club, we fund this club with our massive global support, and if the money's there to pay De Gea £350,000 a week and prevent him going anywhere else, pay the bloody money. At some point, the bubble might burst when it comes to football. It may well burst, and maybe... you know, a lot of clubs will go to the wall. But the reality is, in relation to Manchester United, they are a fantastic business model. We generate a lot of money, and if that money goes to if we don't pay it, somebody else is going to pay it, aren't they? So I want De Gea at Manchester United. I think he's well, I know he's the best goalkeeper in the world, and if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. But prepare yourself for the pelters, the anti-United agenda press, who are going to say £350,000 a week and all this, that, and the other. The whole point of the Sanchez signing is, if we are paying him £500,000 a week after tax, it is a stupid amount of money to pay him, but do you really think United can't afford it? And we make that money, so whatever, absolutely whatever. Shay Costello says Roy Keane was the first player to get £100,000 a week in 2000. Everybody said that was too much. Samuel Cunningham says Rashford is far better player than Welbeck. He is a more complete striker who has played out of position and still scores goals. Fantastic comeback there, Samuel, as well, because I was saying that all last season. Rashford's not a left winger, and actually 99% of the time he's playing as a left winger, and he's not a left winger. He's far better in the number 9 position. I remember the Chelsea game last April, and he played up front, and he was fantastic. Up front, Rashford is a better player than he is on the wing, so he is playing out of position as well. And Pogba West says, Mark, why do you always talk about Rashford as a number 9? How don't you see he's perfect right winger? Well, I don't think anybody sees him as a perfect right winger because he doesn't play there. So I think he's a number 9. I think he just has to play where he plays, and I'd rather see him playing than not playing. So it's all about developing, isn't it? Apparently Evra's going to join West Ham. Everyone wants De Gea at United. Is the best goalkeeper in the world, says AJ King. And Andrew Ellis says De Gea deserves to be the highest paid per week. What about Pulisic? We've spoken about him. And agreed, Andrew Ellis, says Andrew Southwick. Mark, you need to watch Rooney on Sky Sports. He is absolute banter, says Magnus Olsen. I'm glad you mentioned that. There's 2 topical things that are very much United related that I did want to talk about. Wayne Rooney got a few pelters. I tell you what, I can't believe it's only Tuesday night. I don't know. This week, I am absolutely exhausted. And I don't know, you must feel it as well. I mean, obviously, we've been editing stuff to put up for Munich. We've been watching a lot of stuff on the United Stand, on MUTV, on every other outlet out there. They've put some fantastic stuff out there. And every bit I've watched has touched me in a different way. And emotionally, that's very draining. And that's why I'm really tired. And I'm sure you are as well. You know, it's hard to describe this because I'm so proud of Manchester United and Manchester United fans for how we've dealt with the anniversary, and it's been amazing. But I wouldn't have expected anything else. But it has been very tiring for everybody. And the whole thing is, the sad thing is, that's why I always have Duncan Edwards with me, because it's not about February the 6th, is it? That's the time to remember. They should be with us always. But what I was going to say is, Rooney made these comments last night, and to me, I feel like we're on Thursday, and he said it on Monday. It was only last night. So what Rooney said is, and he got a few pelters for it. He said that forget Manchester United catching Manchester City this season, they're not going to catch them next season. And a lot of people are like, oh, he's won all these titles with United, what a bloody traitor, this, that and the other. But I think he definitely added some context to it. He didn't really need to, for me. The way I feel at the moment is, I said last year United will win the title, and I said it in August, United will win the title, and I said it in October, United will win the title. And I only ever based it on the fact that Mourinho wins the title in his first 2 years, and this is his 2nd year. He's not going to do that. Barring a miracle, he's not going to do that. And that was the only reason I said it, based on the stats, not on reality. When I looked at it, I was like, I don't know whether this team's good enough, but Mourinho, trust in him. I don't think even Mourinho thought he could do it, to be fair. So I'm not saying Mourinho said we were going to win the title. But as I look at things now, do I think Manchester United win the title next year? I believe we can. I want us to. But I've got no courage or conviction that we will. And I wouldn't bet anything more than a tenner. I wouldn't bet anything more than I'm prepared to lose, because I don't see United winning. I don't see United favourites for the title next year, no matter what we do in the summer. And the reason for that is we're not where we need to be as a team yet. And that's not a criticism. It's taking time, and it's not anti-United, and it's not being negative for negative's sake. So I think Rooney's right. I think Rooney knows full well what a lot of United fans know, and what I feel as well is that this team's not complete yet. It's not complete. I still think we lack a winger. We still lack a number 10. The midfield without Pogba is still very weak. And the defence, I think, is good enough, to be honest. I think we've got enough there, but we just haven't got the defence we need, i.e. Bay and Rojo. We're having to chop and change all the time. So United, of course they can win the title next year. Leicester won the title. So Manchester United can win the title next year. But if you compare where we are and the issues we've got to Manchester City, who've got a very settled team, a very confident team, a very strong team, a manager who knows his system, we don't, plays that system week in, week out, and the players have total confidence in it. He's got an open checkbook as well. He's just gone and bought, how many players did he buy in January? Well, Laporte for one. Did they buy somebody else? I lose track. But you know, and he will buy people in the summer. It's not like Manchester City will not make the mistake that we did after '99, where we didn't really go and buy anybody. They will buy somebody in the summer. They will probably buy Dybala or Griezmann or somebody like that, and they're going to get better and better and better, and we are still playing catch up. So I think that's all Rooney was saying, is that United probably won't win the title next year because Man City aren't going anywhere, and they are going to add to what they've got, and they're going to stay confident, and they're going to stay aware of the way they play football. And the challenge is there for United. That is the challenge. The challenge is there to know that and do something about it in the next 6 months. And Alexis Sanchez is certainly a step in that direction. And whatever we do in the summer, we might come into August and suddenly be like, you know how we felt back in February? I don't feel like that now, because we don't know where we're going to be in August. We don't know what the 11's going to look like in August, and we might suddenly become major favourites with Man City and be very more confident. But at the moment, in fairness to Rooney, and I've thrown a few pelters at Rooney over the last 4 years, I actually thought what he said was very intelligent and very accurate. And I don't think we're favourites by a long way to win the title next year, and that is the challenge for United to change that. I've also said that if we give Fellaini a new contract, we won't win the title while Fellaini's at this club, and that upsets me. But I do think I do believe it. Who's better, Pulisic or Rashford? That was a hell of a question. It was a good question. I'll throw that to the live comments. We've got nearly 2,000 people watching tonight. Please do drop a like on the video. Sanchez. I liked this comment. Paul Mellor 20 times Man United says Rooney said United ID. Rooney said United's ID is crossing the ball into the box. I agree, but do we do it? Do we? United's ID for me, and you know, I've got, you know, we're talking about the 60th anniversary of the Busby Babes and the Munich tragedy. United's ID in my lifetime, and anybody who's older would probably say the same, going back into the 70s and the 60s, has always been the width. And I don't think Mourinho uses that width. And I'm not going to be critical of Mourinho because I do like Mourinho, but as I said, Man City have got an identity and they've got a plan of how they're going to play and how they approach every single game. United haven't. When you look at it, and I'm going to do a video about this later on in the week, when you look at United's ID, already this season, we've had a 3-5-2, which a lot of us liked. We've had 4-3-3. We've had 4-2-3-1. We've played long ball. We've played short ball. We've played possession ball. We've played quick ball. What is Manchester United's ID at the moment? I don't know. I don't know from one game to the next what our formation will be or how we're going to play. And I think that in itself is something that we need to sort out, because players need fluidity. Players need to know their roles. And we change the team from week to week as well. You never know whether Martial's starting on the left, Rashford's starting on the left. Is Lingard at number 10? Is it Mata? You know, this Matic and Lukaku tend to play every game, as does Pogba, but in what position does Pogba play? So these are the, you know, we are in a great position because we're in second place and we will get top 4, which means we'll get Champions League football. If we do well in the Champions League and win the FA Cup, I think that's fantastic for us this year. But we're still very much in transition. We're still very much building, and we're in a good position now. But the next position we want is first, and the work and the challenge is there for that. Mark, any chance of unblocking me on Twitter? The handle is @WolfgangFFS. If I remember, depends why you got blocked, mate. And the width has changed into length. Long ball says Aish13. And depends who we can sign, to be honest, says Darren Sweetman. I think 4-3-3 is best for us, says Damien Hosty. Carl Tilley says 4-4-2, diamond midfield. I'm going to do a video on it later in the week because I really want to I want to get the, I want to use this screen. Not the one with the Busby Babes on. Well, I'm not going to change that. Obviously, I want the Busby Babes on. But I'm going to use that screen with the pitch on and go through some of the formations that we've talked about, that we've seen from United and your ideas. And we'll do it as a live show because I do want to interact with you. I might do it tomorrow night, actually. Should we do it tomorrow night? Obviously, we'll cover anything topical, but then we can get into like what United formations have been this season, how we're playing, but we do need an identity. I agree. And whether it's 4-3-3 and we don't have a number 10, that might be a solution to the number 10 problem. Don't have a number 10. Stick somebody like Matic or Fabinho as the holder, and then have Milankovic, Savic, and a Pogba as a more progressive players with 2 wide and 1 up front. But we do need to get an identity at United, definitely. The next thing I want to talk about, because I don't want to go into that too much because we can talk about it tomorrow. Remember, drop a like on the video and share the video. Let's get over 2,000 people watching. I want to talk about Antonio Conte. Obviously they were beaten badly last night by Watford, and we play them at the end of the month in the league, and a lot of people, myself included, were really excited about playing him, and apparently he's been given a vote of confidence, but it's not looking good for him. 2 losses in a row, 1 win from 5 for Chelsea, and they are currently 6 points behind us with the same amount of games played. They're only 5 points ahead of Arsenal in 6th, so they're in a bit of problems, Chelsea. And we play them at the end of the month, and we know that pretty much since that public... He lost his head, he lost his wig, didn't he? Mourinho poked him, and he reacted badly, and his team have reacted badly, and he's in a lot of trouble, Conte. And for anyone who remembers, I did say at the start of the season I thought Conte would be gone by Christmas. I might be wrong by about 7 or 8 weeks, but I think he might be gone by the end of this month. I hope he's not gone before the United game, because I think if he can just limp through to the United game and Mourinho beats him at Old Trafford, which I suspect he will, that will be the end of Conte. And what sweet, sweet justice that would be for Jose Mourinho, because let's not forget, on both visits to Stamford Bridge, Conte has been a right little Conte, hasn't he? He has. And the Chelsea fans are idiots for reacting. You know, they were fanboys of their new 5-minute manager and slating and booing the man that's their most successful manager ever. And what goes around comes around. And I really, 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 really want Conte to be Chelsea manager at the end of the month, so that when Mourinho and United beat him, he gets the sack and gets what he deserves. I think it's sweet, sweet justice. But I do have slight concerns that may not happen, because they have got to get through a number of fixtures before he comes to United. He's got Chelsea, West Brom next Monday. It is at Stamford Bridge. They should get a win. I hope they do win, because I want him to be coming to Old Trafford as manager. But if he loses that at home, I think he's gone. So we don't want that to happen next Monday. They've then got Hull City at home in the FA Cup. If he loses that, will that be enough to get rid of him? I don't know. They've then got Barcelona at home in the first leg. So he's got 3 big hurdles there, Conte. But I really hope he does overcome them, because I want him to be sacked at Old Trafford, and I want Mourinho to get that justice. Because I thought it was disgusting, that very first game between United and Chelsea. I think they beat us 4-0. And Mourinho grabbed him at the end and whispered to him about having some class, and he really did act like a petulant little prat. So, like I say, what goes around comes around. We didn't get to do it with Marquise, did we? He got sacked the week before Stoke were coming to us, so it'd be nice to be able to do it for them. Kwesi Brown says he hopes they lose. Well, I hope they don't lose for many reasons, because if Conte is gone before the United game, it'll be a new manager, and you know what clubs react with a new manager, especially if they bring old Gus Hiddink out from his coffin, or Ancelotti. He might get fired after Barcelona, says SB. He might do. After Barcelona beat him, I bet he'll be sacked in the morning, says Nicholas Myers. Yeah, that's the... he has got a bit of a mountain to climb just to get to the end of the month. And to be fair, it might not be a mountain he wants to climb, because, you know, as I said at the weekend, this game between Manchester United and Chelsea and Mourinho and Conte, it's very rare that you get 2 managers absolutely going at each other like that. You know, Mourinho, even Sir Alex Ferguson, Benitez, it was all facts and this, that and that. It was never really offensive. It was never really about mental health or match fixing. They don't like each other a hell of a lot, and that was going to be a real box office affair. And it would be such a shame if Conte doesn't make it to that, but maybe he doesn't want to go to it, because maybe he knows that he's lost that team, and maybe he knows if he takes that team to Old Trafford and Mourinho, that will be the ultimate humiliation. So maybe he'll bottle it before. I've got a theory that maybe he will. Paul Robinson, good comment. He says, if we win our next 5 games, we can start sneaking in the youth after tied up the Champions League. They need it and we need it. Yeah, I mean, looking at that league table, we are, what, 5 points clear of Liverpool, 6 points clear of Chelsea, 7 points clear of Spurs. A good couple more results for us in the league, and we can open that to maybe 10 points comfortably into that top 4 position, and it gives us, certainly by April, I would hope that we've got it tied up and we can start playing some of the kids. Chong, I'd love to see a bit more of Gomez as well. You know, even McTominay, I'm not opposed to him having some more time. Mourinho obviously sees something in McTominay, so I'd rather we started to see what that is, and the only way we get to see that is through game times. He's a dead man walking, says Paul Mellor. Jose should show his index finger to the Chelsea away fans if we beat Chelsea. And what about United Chiefs and fans meeting, says Imran Mohammed. Yeah, well, this is this was sort of rumoured to happen about October time when Mourinho had his last blowout at the Old Trafford crowd, and I think the Must, who are the Manchester United Supporters Trust, they wanted to meet with Mourinho and he refused it. And then there's talk now, Mourinho has spoken about the atmosphere at Manchester United, and there is talk now that there will be a meeting between the club and the fans about how they sort out the atmosphere at Manchester United. I don't know. I mean, lots of people have got lots of ideas, and it's a democracy, isn't it, in relation to the fans and those who speak. Those who have the biggest say are the season ticket holders at Old Trafford. So whatever they think, really. I personally, maybe one end of the ground, 10,000, dedicated singing section, affordable tickets. You know, maybe put a price cap of 35 quid on those 10,000 seats, and it's the singing section, and it's the hardcore United fans who want to go in there and sing. It's not the place where people go who are very welcome at United, who are there over from America or India or anywhere else. You know, tourists is not a nice term, but people who are over there on, like, the, you know, a bit of a pilgrimage to United, and they're turning up and they're just soaking up the atmosphere. You know, maybe put 10,000 people all together who go week in, week out, and give them affordable ticketing, and just have it as a singing section, so that you know that one area of the ground every week is going to be booming. And then everybody else will react to that. I assure you, I've been at games when I was younger, and, like, you know, you've got a singing section, a standing section, and the rest of the ground reacts to that. They're the sort of spark that sets it off, and everyone else reacts to it. I think that's the way the club needs to go. I mean, we already have the Stretford end, and they do sing a lot, but they need to do something. They need to do something. And but I'm a firm believer as well, because the last game I was at was Chelsea, and we weren't happy with the team news. It didn't look like a very good team selection at all. It was a Mourinho masterpiece. The players were on it from minute one. We were up for it. We got at them. We created chances. We pressed them. The football was good. And the crowd was rocking from minute 1 to 90. So why is one game like that and then 10 games not like that? And I think a lot of it is to do with the football. If United play good football, the crowd are up for it. If United do like they did against Huddersfield at the weekend, where it's a little bit boring, it's hard to fake it. It's hard to fake it. Conte wants Chelsea to sack him, says RG Bizzle. I agree with that. And Nick Powell is better than Bakayoko. Bakayoko, yeah, well, Bakayoko is a player that I was passionately not... I think around this time last year, I said I wouldn't mind Bakayoko. Then he got injured. Then I watched him a lot towards the end of the season, like a lot of people watch Monaco. And I retracted my opinion. Before I even knew he was going to City, I retracted my opinion and said, I don't want him. I don't like him at all. He looks too slow. He looks too cumbersome on the ball. There's not a lot of difference between Fellaini. And I was so pleased we didn't get him, because we were linked to him. And I was so pleased we didn't get him. He is an awful footballer. I think Fabinho made him look better than he did. And we dodged a big bullet. But when you look at what Conte's done, and I don't want this to turn into the Chelsea show. I just want to defend Mourinho, because the way Chelsea fans booed him was a disgrace. And the reality is, Chelsea have got a long history of players downing tools, and then a new manager comes along and they pick the tools up again. Mourinho won the title, that team downed tools, they got him sacked by Christmas. Conte comes in, that pretty much the same team wins a title. Conte then decides he's going to do things his way, gets rid of Matic, gets rid of Costa by text, and then makes his own signings, and they're struggling. He basically won a title off Mourinho's side, and now, when he's trying to do his own thing, Morata, Bakayoko, Drinkwater, Rudiger, Giroud, Barkley, you know, these are bad signings on his part, and he spent money, and they've been bad signings, and Chelsea are going to have to get rid of him. They will do, and he's benefited from Mourinho, and now he's not. I think Fellaini's better than Bakayoko as well, Matthew Ken. I do. You know, I don't always give Fellaini a lot of credit, but I think he is definitely better than Bakayoko. Mate, you ever heard from Frank de Jong from Ajax? Says Andre. And Andrew S says, I've been known to pen a verse from time to time. Mark Bakayoko, okay. A lot of the big clubs seem to have quiet stadiums, let's face it, say RJ Bizzle. Yeah, but it doesn't mean that the club can't react to that and do something about it, does it? Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. I am absolutely exhausted tonight. Please do drop a like on the video. I apologise for the early video where I'd messed up with the audio, but that's what happens. You start to make mistakes when you're tired, and I am very tired. And my plan for the rest of the evening is just, I don't know why I'm telling you this, I'm just slipping into normal. I'm just going to go and have a nice hot soak. I'm going to listen to a little bit of the Munich memorial stuff that Flex has done, which we're editing, which will go up tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. All the stuff that they filmed today, they're putting it together now. They've got a lot of stuff, so that's going to go up tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock, because we've got loads of stuff up already. So tomorrow will just be a nice day to put that up for reflection. Very important day for Manchester United, a very important day for Manchester United fans, a very important day for football. And all I'd say is what I said at the start. Our Munich videos have got 10,000 views. When we do a video saying United are interested in Alexis Sanchez, we get 70,000 views. That's wrong. That is wrong, because Manchester United are about the Munich thing. Signing Alexis Sanchez, as exciting as it is not what Manchester United are. Manchester United are in Munich. So, however we do it, because in 50 years' time, 40 years' time, it'll be the 100th anniversary. 40 years' time, I probably won't be here, but some of you will be. Most of you, hopefully, and you should still be as passionate and spreading this message in 40 years' time for the 100th anniversary as we are now. But that is a stark reminder. 10,000 people watch a video about what our club's all about, and 70,000 people watch it about being linked to Ozil. That's not right. We've got a massive support. We've got a great community. It's not a criticism, but we need to understand and spread the word and be passionate about what our club's all about. And the Busby Babes are everything. They are what we are, and they are what we are. So just keep spreading the word about it. Keep educating people. Keep learning yourself. Because every year I learn something. Like I said, like I tweeted today, I knew it, but there are things that you forget over the year, and you sort of revisit it again. And what I revisited over the last few days is the Real Madrid and the Liverpool thing. I give Real Madrid so much stick. I call them the shallow fans, the spoilt fans, the evil club. And I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not going to do it anymore. And I maybe fell into that trap because of what Sir Alex Ferguson said about never selling them a virus. And I'm sure, Real Madrid, some of their practices aren't great. But what they did for Manchester United in the aftermath of the Munich tragedy, wanting to donate as the European Cup, offering as their best player on loan for a season. I'm not going to be like that anymore, because rivalry is rivalry, but hated rivalry is too far. Rivalry is important though. And Liverpool Liverpool helped as well. So it's a bit of a big ask for me to start being respectful of Liverpool, but I am respectful of Liverpool in relation to the tragedies they've had, and they've been respectful about us, and I enjoy that. It is a hate rivalry, I suppose, but it's because we're so similar. We're both very successful clubs. We've both got very passionate fans, and we've both got tragedy in our stories. So. But no, that's been my big eye-opener. So please do just keep watching videos about it, whether it's ours or others, and learning about it, because that's what this club is all about. And it is the greatest story ever told, and it's the saddest story ever told. But it's our club, it's our story, and we must never let it go out. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everybody who dwindled at the end to listen to me go on. But this is your channel. I can only drive it. Like I say, I'm an instrument. Play me. But realistically, our community is the best community in the Manchester United global fan base, and what you drive as collectively, like we've seen with the £7,000 we create, you generated on that 24-hour stream for cancer, all the things we do, you do it. You don't realise how powerful your voice is when you come together. So don't ever feel that you're just one person tapping away on the live comments, or one person watching and not tapping away. Every single one of you has been with us. Well, not every one of you, but you've been with us on this journey, and more people will come. There'll be new people here tonight, and you are part of it. And that's a very, very powerful thing when we do it for good. So please spread the word. Please spread the word about what Manchester United are, and educate yourself on it, because it just makes... I'm just so proud of what we are and what we did. And we're just a fantastic club. Fantastic club. So thanks everyone for watching, and we're going to have a rest. And I hope you do too. See you all tomorrow. And remember, we've got a video going up at 7 o'clock tomorrow, which is basically everything Flex and Jordan did today. Lots and lots of stuff going on in Munich. So watch out for that, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. I'll speak to you all tomorrow night at 8. Thanks for watching.